Hi, everybody. This is Chris Bandura from Dave and Adams here on the Standard. Great guest today for a few minutes with us. Stanley Cup champion, over 1,000 games in the National Hockey League, two-time Olympian, and Western New York native Brian Gionta. Brian, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Chris.
That's awesome. So I guess obviously it's Stanley Cup playoff time here, and the finals going on right now. You know, you being a participant in the Stanley Cup finals early on in your career, you know, what's it like to be in a game one or game two of a Stanley Cup final?
It's nerve-wracking. I did it when I was 22, 23, so early in my career. You try to get the nerves out of the way right away. We were at home, so that helps a little bit. That helps calm things down. And, you know, I think you're just trying to go out there and settle your game in and know that it's going to be a long series. But it's like a start of a new season. It's like the start of a new series. You always want to get that first, second game where you're really playing well and you're fighting your game.
Is it different than like a second round or something like that? Do you feel that pressure as a player?
Well, I think for sure now. I mean, the media hype around it, you know, media day, all that kind of stuff amplifies things. So it has an added excitement to it, added pressure to it. But I mean, that's what we train for. That's what we want to be. That's where you want to be. That's what you want to be a part of. So it's fun, but it's also nerve-wracking the first time you go through it.
So, like, obviously you won, you know, what, second year in the league, right? What was that like, I guess, from a playing perspective? Were you happy? Does it take some of the pressure off, the fact that you win a cup so early in your career?
Well, it happened, right? Within a matter of 2 years, I'd won a national championship and then a Stanley Cup. So it's like, oh, man, this stuff's easy. Like, it's just winning's easy. But I was lucky. I came into a New Jersey team that had 5, 6 Hall of Famers. They'd won 2 cups in the last 5 years. So I came into an established team and a good team. So we always had a chance to win. So you took it for granted. Now looking back, you really took for granted how hard it was to get there and how hard it was to win. But you know, lifting that cup with all the injuries you have by the end of it, it really is something special.
No, and do you remember, did you have family, you know, when you guys won? Was family at that game?
Yeah, a ton of family. My parents, my wife, Harvest was there, and we had a bunch of aunts and uncles, my brothers, and then it's that whole thing, right? Like, you're getting the cup, you're getting handed the cup on the ice. They're still up in the stands at this point, you know, because it happens fairly quick. And then all of a sudden, you know, you do your laps and whatever, and then all of a sudden everyone's on the ice, right? Like, all the families on the ice. We're all taking pictures with the cup, passing around on the ice. And I think half the family or most of the family had gone back to, you know, the townhouse we were in and crashed late. You know, it was probably 4 a.m. We came rolling in after you know, the sun was back up. So it's just, I remember the whole night for sure.
It's all those good PR guys bringing the families down, knowing their roles, right?
They know what they do.
They figure it out, I guess, right? You know, now obviously, you know, the Stanley Cup playoffs and the finals, especially, you know, this year, Montreal's had a great run so far. You know, you being the, you know, second American captain ever for the Montreal Canadiens. What's the playoffs like in Montreal? Is there a better place?
No, it's like nothing else. Like my first year, 09-10 season, you know, we won the first round, advanced, and we came into the playoffs last day of the season. We qualified for playoffs, so we're underdogs. Yeah. We win that first series, and it's like the pictures that you see now. You know, the city just erupting, fireworks. Everyone floods the streets and things are shut down. Like, we couldn't leave the rink because everyone was around, and this is the first round. So we're looking around. I'm used to New Jersey, where our Stanley Cup parade was like the amount of people that were there after the first round win that we had in Montreal. So it is crazy. It's something to experience. And, you know, I was put out of my comfort zone going into Montreal in my personal life, hockey-wise. But it's like no other market. It really is something special. I'm so thankful I was able to experience that. But playoffs, man, I can't imagine what that city's like right now. Being in the finals, I wish for Jeff Molson's sake they're able to have more people in the stands. But for the players to really experience what it's all about.
Okay, this might be a little bit of a controversial question, but is there anything like being a Montreal Canadiens player, let alone a captain, running around the streets of Montreal?
No, I mean, there's nothing like it. It's hard to explain. You don't know what it's like until you get there. I don't know what it's like to be a Yankee in New York City. It's got to be something similar. But literally, my wife, my kids, they are recognized all over the city, let alone us. So it's everything that you think of, right? Like, it's hard to go anywhere. If you're going out to eat, you're getting a back room. The restaurant guys are taking care of you, setting you off to the side. So you're not getting bombarded the whole night that you're having dinner. But it has everything that you would want and need and ever think that you would want. I was lucky that I went when I was older, had kids, was married, didn't get caught up in the lifestyle side of it, was able to enjoy things, but not get dragged down by some of that stuff.
The kids had to have signed a few autographs in Montreal.
Right? Seriously,
dinners on napkins or something.
My oldest was in kindergarten or first grade, and he had like a fifth grader invite him to his birthday party, and the teacher pulls us aside and is like, they don't know each other. These kids don't know each other. And we're like, yeah, he's not going to a fifth grader's birthday party when he's a kindergarten. We're all set. We get it.
That's unbelievable. So. Well, little comparison, I guess. You were in the Olympics, twice, right? What's the experience of the Olympics maybe compared to Stanley Cup playoffs or maybe even a final to compare it to?
It's different. International play is always a little different. It's hard to compare it to a Stanley Cup final or playoffs. You have a mix of fans, right? It's not just like home or away fans. It's people from all over the world, different countries. You have family and friends there at the game, but the whole world is watching. Like, that's the difference in the Cup finals or Stanley Cup playoffs. It's the hockey world that's watching. In the Olympics, the whole world is watching. So it's more pressure from the TV side than it is like the arena side. So I'd liken the two. One has one has the other, the atmosphere wise.
Now, I have to ask, this is kind of what we do. When you were younger, did you collect cards or memorabilia or anything like that when you were a kid growing up?
Yeah, it was, I collected cards here and there on and off. It was Upper Deck at the time. We would get the boxes of Upper Deck cards, rifle through them, see who we got, see what ones we could try to complete our set. And there was always like 10 that kept you going back for more, and you'd have to go buy another box. And they did it on, like, they do it on purpose. And so those are the hard ones to come by. So you keep searching for those. You try to trade off. It fizzled fairly quick, but Rip Simone, he got me into when I was watching the Sabres practices in Western New York. He'd hand me sticks. So I remember getting a signed Barrasso stick, a signed LaFontaine stick. I loved it. The memories of it. Anytime I was coming off the ice as a player, I would remember those times that I got that stick. So I would try to, do the same to a kid that's standing there in the tunnel, try to give him a little momentum. I remember the feeling going back to the car with your stick and, knowing that it was that player's. With the equipment manager's blessing, I would try to give away as much as I could.
They love giving stuff out. They love that.
It's free advertising, free marketing. It gets people in the building. That's how
until they have to look at their budget numbers, it doesn't matter,
exactly.
Right? Now I got to ask though, because of that, were you a guy that used a lot of sticks? Even though I know the answer to this already. I did use a lot of sticks. I was very trying to think of the best word without using spoiled. I was. I did. I was well taken care of by my equipment people, so I appreciate that throughout the career. I was fairly picky with my sticks and used a lot of them, but I try to use a lot of it in practice and for marketing purposes. As I said, that's a good answer. That's a great answer. There's something there, Hey, when you get to the show, isn't that the whole thing? Like, you get to get what you want,
that's
right?
it. Tossing pucks to people and giving sticks away. That's what it's all about.
No, that's unbelievable. Now, obviously, looking around, you got a couple really nice jerseys there, real nice silver stick for 1,000 game I see in the background there. Any of those things or any of those pieces really mean more to you than maybe some others?
There's a few. Like all the jerseys that I have kind of framed mean something. They're either from a specific game or team. The silver stick, the 1,000th game obviously was a huge one. And then, the Stanley Cup replica, that's a cool one. But I had I had a Montreal do a big frame that has me and my brothers, our first game against each other. And we have an 8x10 picture. We got each team's pucks. We got the score sheets, stuff like that. So it was the very first time that we had played against each other in the NHL. So I had one made up for him and my parents and myself. And I'd say that's pretty special because that doesn't happen very often. We're very fortunate to have been able to play against each other.
No, that leads me to one of my last things. Do you remember the first time you ever saw your face or an image on a card?
Yeah, I do. It's Devils. You look back now, I look like a baby, like just a young baby. Actually, I take that back. My very first card would have been the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. I had a little card. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a pro card, but it was a card. Like as a 13, 14-year-old, you're jacked up about that, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
You look back at that tournament, it's got tons of NHL guys that went through that and had cards. So that collection's pretty cool too.
That's what's crazy about that tournament, isn't it? Like the amount of stars and players that have gone through that tournament, and they treat it so big like that because it's so big, right? But to have cards when you're a kid like that, I don't think there's anything better than that,
No, nothing. That's cool.
That's unbelievable. Listen, bro, Brian, all the best of luck. You look great. Good to see you again.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. Be sure to follow and subscribe to our channels for all the latest Dave and Adams content. Once again, this is Chris Bandura. You're watching The Standard.